he puts up about me is nothing but a lie. So I'm sorry for all you know-it-all people that think you know everything about everything that has to do with that show. I like seeing you in person.
Yeah, I like seeing you too.
Good. I don't know, but I figure I might as well help you analyze me by pointing some things out. So, bitch and moan about it only being $20 if you want, but I can only do what I can do for right now.
No way. That's beer money for the whole weekend.
I've decided that I'm not going to tell you all about my past. I will give you an example of the 5 years before I got incarcerated. Telephone, don't be cruel to a heart that's true. I don't want no other love. Baby, it's just you I'm thinking of. Don't stop thinking of me. Don't make.
Good afternoon, boys and girls. Mawx, Gunderson, and Zed here. Now, since the inception of this channel, I really only put it together for one reason, and that was to make this video, but I wasn't sure how to do it. And I'm fairly certain that out of my 25 current subscribers, that at least half of you, if not a good chunk of you, are familiar with this troll of a man who is beginning to resemble that of a melting candle. Specifically, a dog shit scented candle with the tiniest wick you've ever seen. And before we get too deep into this, I do want to preface this and say I am a human being and I do have empathy. With so many dark things and amusingly dark things that are on the internet these days, Lorne's case is very unique. Has there been various times in the past where I have felt at least a smidgen guilty for laughing hysterically? Sure. However,
so for those of you that are not intelligent enough to figure that out, don't bother trying to get me kicked off the internet. You can't do it. You know, I really want to do everything that I can to be a better person, and I'm trying my ass off. But you know, I really need people to start leaving the past in the past and start catching up to the present. There's a scarf here. For one thing, I'm putting up for sale is this scarf here. This is the scarf that I had when I was incarcerated. I really need people to start leaving the past in the past and start catching up to the present. That I still had when I was incarcerated. This right here is the wallet that I had when I was incarcerated. And I'll be putting my autograph on that as well. I really need people to start leaving the past in the past and start catching up to the present.
this fucking monster tried to financially capitalize on his notoriety from appearing on this show. Delusionally pathetic, yes, but harmless, no.
I was not in my right frame of mind back then. I had a lot of things that happened to me. I was messed up. Even in the conversation, I said I was confused.
I always had fucking condoms in my truck anyway. I was in fucking Nashville going out to the bar every night. But yes, I did have condoms in my truck. I'm not fucking denying that. But I always had fucking condoms in my truck. Unfortunately, I had to fucking buy them that night anyway. That's what was unfortunate.
So you bought condoms the night that you went to the Sting house?
Yes.
But you weren't going to sleep
I didn't have
with
any
the girl
more.
who was there? But you weren't going to sleep with the person who was there?
Oh.
Lord, I'm just asking the question.
I did not. I know, but it's hard for me to I did not want to sleep with a 13-year-old. I did not want to. I didn't even want to go to the fucking Sting. Oh.
I not meant to do that. Does that mean a thing? If If you wanted songs that I meant to sing. I never even meant to do it.
This picture right here. This is my favorite picture of Lorne. Now, this mugshot is very obviously from the night of the sting, and is not long after he was stripped of his freedom, his dignity, his track, and his Boston cap. You know, the photographer captured his despair and shame quite nicely, and really got the reflection of the ugliness that is within him, as well as on the outside. Now, my personal exposure to the magical world of Lorne Armstong took place sometime in 2016, maybe late 2016. I was honestly in a very strange and uncertain time in my life. At the time, I was exploring the ugly rabbit hole which is Pizzagate. Somehow this led back to TCAP, which was something that I loved when it was on the air. I mean, we had a show where they took all of these sick-ass weirdos and not only busted them, but let Chris Hansen expose and humiliate them on national television for our delight and entertainment, for absolutely, just the cost of cable television. It did not take long to find the Church of Coed, which still to this day is too good to be true. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm the type of guy who falls down rabbit holes very easily. But really, my first initial thought was, why does a loser like Lorne get a cult following? Why not Jeff Stacy?
What's wrong with that?
At the time, I was working a shitty job for evil people. I was in recovery, I was chronically depressed, and I was extremely lonely, to be honest with you. Then I found something that kind of blew my mind in so many ways. Horny Lorne now had a YouTube channel and saw himself as some kind of internet icon. And while this is a free country, and he has supposedly repaid his debt to society, Lorne's ego is only proficient in comparison to his fucking stupidity. His literal birth certificate is an apology letter from the Trojan Company. And honestly, I had nothing better going on, so I had to poke the fucking bear.
And for those of you that are trying to make up stories like this, Mawx Gunderson, you're really not intelligent. Mawx Gunderson. I really don't understand.
Today, Junior?
I don't know anybody by the name of Charlie, so you can forget that one.
At a time of great despair, Lorne's comment section had become my sanctuary, my own personal playground. I taunted Lorne night and day under various names, and nothing really ever seemed to catch his attention. That was until I brought Charlie into the picture.
You in my room, I better not catch you standing up peeing. You sit down when you pee, you understand?
That right there led up to the reason why I couldn't think straight when I got involved with the sting.
For some reason, this looming threat opened the floodgates. It was a beautiful beginning to our friendship. Okay, asshole, what do you want? I had a friend at the time who was a tech wizard look into the email to check the IP address to make sure it was legitimately coming from where I believed it was coming from. I was quite stunned, to be honest with you, and to say that I wasn't starstruck would be a little bit of a lie. And now that the mouse has taken the cheese, now what? What do I do? What do I say? What do I ask? In spite of Lorne's initial aggression, I wasn't trying to end this conversation too quickly. Part of me suspected that he knew that I was trolling him. Yet he continued and pressed me for information. totally forgotten on me at the time, but the signature line for the particular email that I was using was lyrics to a Manson song, which, in reflection, he was oddly threatened by, but not surprisingly. Over a short period of time, he responded with his own threats, some legal bullshit, an epic, "why is everybody picking on me?" type speech, followed shortly by some poetry of his own. One of the reasons I stalled in putting this video together is I did everything that I possibly could to obtain these actual emails. At the time, it was just something I was having fun with, and not something I ever thought I would, actually use. I was in kind of a dark place, and after all,
I was not in my right frame of mind back then. I had a lot of things that happened to me. I was messed up.
to answer the obvious, no, I don't know anybody named Charlie. Even so, Lorne was pretty eager to shut me up. The man gets extremely defensive when talking about his butthole virginity. Probably the funniest part about this whole exchange that most people don't know about a week into our correspondence, Lorne basically decided that I was somebody obviously from his circle of friends or closely related to his circle of friends. With great assumption, he called me Chad over and over. He went on to try to convince me that he banged my mother, Susan, in the pussy and her butt too. And while I found great amusement in this, the fact that another person was now potentially involved made me decide to back off at that time. And unfortunately, in the end, me and Lorne, we never got to do our collaboration. And that's my story for now. And all hope is not forever lost. I have made a vow that one day I will recover these emails. For the sake of posterity, one day it will be available to all of you. That is a promise. Until then, and until next time, this is Mawx fucking Gunderson and Zed reminding you, don't forget to delete your archives. Love you guys.
Nice try there, Mawx.